Escape the cubicle mindset and unlock your financial destiny on today's episode of Serve No Master. Today's episode is brought to you by Namecheap, the only place where I go to buy all of my websites. To find out how much you can save and get a free year of identity protection, go to servenomaster.com/Namecheap.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
Our beliefs, the core beliefs and the way we view the world affect every decision we make throughout the day. The lens through which you see the world will affect your ability to make money and will also affect your decision-making process. The 9-to-5 mindset, that's the mindset that is built into us through grammar school, high school, college. We're really taught a key value. And that value is that time is something we exchange for money. At my last job, years ago, more than 6 years ago now, so long ago, even if I finished my assignments for the day within 1 hour, I had to stay there for another 7. When you work for a corporation or a business, they measure your effort by time. That's the scale they use. Work this many hours, get paid this much money. Your effectiveness and your productivity don't really matter. As long as your productivity is past a certain level, you keep your job. Below that level, you get fired. That's the only measurement they use as far as success. They would give me assignments that were supposed to take months of planning and preparation, and I would have everything done within a few hours. Because the business model was built around the 9-to-5 mindset, which I've never been really good at. I really have always hated inefficiency. And that's kind of one of the few things where I've had a really big benefit. So as you're beginning to build projects, as you're beginning to dabble online, as you're starting to build your first blog and kind of see the possibilities out there, you will keep running into this moment where you think about, are you getting a good return on investment for your time? You'll keep thinking, hey, I put in this many hours at the office today. Do I really want to put more hours in tonight? And as long as you're locked into that mindset, you'll always struggle. Time is far more valuable than money. And the type of business we're trying to build is one that will eventually unlock your time from your income. I make money every day, whether I work or not. I have passive revenue streams in the form of affiliate payments, in the form of different types of commissions, in the form of royalties that come in whether I work or not. For books I've written in the past, for projects I worked on in the past, for businesses I own small percentages of, all that money is passive income. And that's what we're building towards, something where you make money whether you work or not. So as you're starting to build a new lifestyle, you want to disconnect from the 9-to-5 mindset. Disconnect from the idea that time equals value, because it does not. I have several employees that work for me. I don't have any of them on a time schedule. They get a list of tasks for the day or a list of tasks for the week, and they have to complete their task list. Whether it takes them 2 hours or 40 is irrelevant. I reward efficiency. Most businesses punish efficiency. At my previous job, when I would get done early, I would be forced to sit at my desk silently with nothing to do for the rest of the day. I would be punished for success. And this is how most businesses are run. This is how the majority of corporations and businesses operate. When you finish your tasks for the day, if you ask for more work, you will be punished. You're trained that. Your boss will be like, hey, did you really put in the right amount of effort? If you finish something faster than he expected, he'll question the quality of your work, or they'll give you extra work to make up for it and kind of punish you in different ways. They'll give you other people in departments work. Businesses really aren't structured around the idea of efficiency or task tracking. Now, there are businesses moving in this direction. Some businesses do this. As we develop better project management software, task manager software, some places are like this, but there's no business that will actually let you go home early if you finish all of your work. Corporations just don't understand that mindset. So when you're working for yourself, you need to build a new mindset. You need to understand that your time is so precious. To give a dollar amount of value for an hour of your life is very difficult. It's very difficult for me to do. And depending on how much I want to do something will determine what the time is worth. If I really want to sell coaching, I'll give one price for a phone call for an hour. But if I don't want to coach for one of my businesses, I'll make the price much, much higher. So there's a lot of factors that go into how I price my time. And I want you to begin to see the long view. Most people at the end of the day, they put in their 9 to 5. The last thing they want to do is start working in when they get home. We have major problems as humans looking at the long-term benefits. We're really short-term people. That's why people smoke. That's why people are overweight. That's why we eat terribly. If you eat bad and you don't exercise, you could cut 30 to 40 years off your life. Okay? You could lose a third of your life. And yet most people in our culture eat bad food. They're overweight. Why? Because we like that instant gratification. That's how the most of us are trained. And as someone who's overweight myself and struggled with weight my whole life, I'm very aware that this is one of my weaknesses. This is why I have to be very fastidious about how I eat, the foods I have in my house, because I know sometimes I just want something that tastes good. And it's hard to remind myself that if I control my diet, I could get a few more years with my kids. Thinking long view is very difficult. So you're going to go through this period of struggle, even finding the time to listen to these podcasts, which I try to make short and sweet. I design these podcasts to be the same amount of time as a single half-hour TV show. Now, a half-hour TV show now is about 22 minutes with 8 minutes of commercial. Almost 30% of any television show is now commercials. So I'm giving you the same value without the commercials. That's kind of how I built the structure of this, because I know that's what attention spans are. So I don't want to use too much of your time. Time is very valuable. Time is very precious. But when we get home and we're starting to build our business, it's hard to put your head down when you're caught up in I already spent 8 hours today working. So instead, think about the long-term benefits. Think about the freedom you're building towards. Think about what it will be like when you only have to work 2 or 3 hours a day and you get to do stuff you love rather than spending 8 hours working for someone else and making someone else rich. Anytime you work for a company, you're generating more money than they're paying you. If you work for a company and you generate $80 in profit, they're not going to pay you $100 because they'd be taking a loss. They'd go out of business. So your work is always worth more than you're being paid. That's the financial calculus any company's going into. As you're developing your mindset, you're going to hit some barriers. So our belief system, the most common belief system that's ingrained within us, tells us not to go out there and take big risks. It tells us not to start our own businesses. It always tells us, hey, don't do it because of all the risks, all of the dangers. Hey, you shouldn't try and start your own business. Hey, it's someone else's fault that you're not financially successful. There's these certain mindsets that propagate and they limit us. And they're all part of that 9 to 5 mindset. And they're trained into us and they're built into us by formal education, by corporations. And it's really the way we keep 99% of the people working for the other 1%. We convince them it's the only path. Everyone told me that I could never start my own business, that I could never date someone more better looking than me, that I could never have kids with someone better looking than me, that I could never live on a tropical island, that I could never write a best-selling book, that I could never write a second best-selling book, that I could never write a 10th best-selling book. Every time I set these goals in front of me, people around me with a 9 to 5 mindset who are trained to think, no, you work 9 to 5 and then you get freedom. That's the mindset. So you see the time when you go home from work as the time for yourself to, and most people use it to watch TV or go to a bar. No one's doing anything that amazing with their time after work. 99% of people don't do anything that amazing when they get home from work. We watch television. And if you watch 2 hours of television, you're going to get at least 30 to 45 minutes of commercials. That's time literally doing nothing that we waste every night. So if you just switched to recording television and only watching shows without commercials a week later, you would get back 5 hours a week that you could invest in starting your new business. So you don't even have to invest free time or time you're spending productively. You're just going to invest time that you spend watching commercials. That's wasted. Or you can invest time listening to podcasts when you're in the car rather than listening to radio with all of its commercials. You could do the same thing here. So begin to think of your time as your most powerful and most precious commodity and something that you want to take control of again. So as you're making decisions, disconnect from the fear, disconnect from the idea that time determines worth. As we build projects and as we kind of go through more and more projects, the business models all follow the same idea. I want you to make money based on systems, based on traffic, based on inputting money. rather than inputting time. See, when you have a job, you put in more time if you want to make more money. When you have a business, you can put in more money to make more money. That's when you have something really amazing. That's exactly what investors do. They want to take a business that's already working, pour money into it, and more money comes out the other side. That's the type of business you want to build. I only have to make and record this episode a single time, and people will listen to it over and over again for years. This podcast is going to be live. I plan to run this for a very long time. I'm very excited about this, and it took a long time planning it. Everything about this podcast is something I'm really excited about. These are topics I love to talk about. This is information I love to share. Each episode I record once, and people listen to it over and over again. Now, these podcasts are free. I'll never charge anything for them, and I'll eventually put all of my information in podcast episodes, just like all my information will eventually end up on my blog. So if you wait long enough, you don't have to buy any of my courses. And my books are the same way. I write a book once, and that's it. It's done. But I generate traffic, reads, and money, and revenue, and royalties for a long time. I have a book right now that I wrote 6 years ago that pays me royalties every week. 6 years later, I make a little bit of money every single day. A little ching, ching, ching. And that's the mindset we want to have. We want to think about passive income, and we want to get into that mindset of thinking, I want to make money while I'm asleep. It's something that's possible, it's something that's doable, and it's something that's very achievable. Even if you just start taking small projects that you do ghostwriting, you're writing articles here or blog posts there for someone else, and you're just getting a little bit of money, generating a little bit of revenue. The reason we start there is because it's not tied to time. So I get paid when I ghostwrite a book. I ghostwrite books for several clients. I have 5 or 6 clients that I work with, and I have a range of different payment agreements, anything from a flat fee for a certain type of project all the way up to a very large percentage for another type of project. Depends on the scope of the project, where it's going to go, how many words, all these different elements, okay, and with all my different partners and clients that I work with. With each of those clients, my income is per project, not per hour. If I write a book in 1 hour or I write the same book in 20 hours, I make the same amount of money. So time is no longer relevant. That's why I love to teach writing, because it's a really easy place to start, and it's a really quick place to start generating revenue. And the great thing about building a blog as your first online activity, you write a blog post once and people can read it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in the future. It's something that can drive permanent income. These are the types of activities, and this is the mindset we want to move into, the mindset of the entrepreneur, the mindset of the elite. This is the way people at the top of the food chain really think, those 1%ers. The more we can have that mindset, the more our little decisions throughout the day will change. People look at my life and they often say that I'm very lucky. People who don't know my background, people who don't know my story of how I became successful. And in fact, if you listen to my interview with Jim a couple of days ago, who I hadn't spoken to in 4 or 5 years, when I finished the interview, I talked to him privately, and I was so surprised at his story. I thought one of our friends, he's friends with some people that we both know that are very, very wealthy. I thought one of them had given him a bunch of money to invest in a company. I didn't realize Jim had done something very similar to me and built his company up. So even I sometimes do it, where I see someone around me and I think that they just got handed their success. But it's not true. There's a struggle, there's a journey to get to the top. And if we don't see the struggle, we think it's luck. And what most people perceive as luck is really preparation meeting opportunity. And let me dig into that, because we hear that kind of phrase, and that's a quote, but everyone goes, well, what does that really mean? Preparation is when you change your beliefs to think that certain things are possible and to think that you deserve certain things. Now, I'm not heavily into the law of attraction and kind of that element of personal development, but I do believe your thoughts control everything. See, if you believe that you'll never be successful, that belief will affect the little decisions you make throughout the day. I have tried to work with a lot of my friends. I'll approach one of my friends. I don't do this anymore. I learned my lesson, but I went through 7 or 8 of my friends, and I'd say, hey, I'm doing really well. Why don't you come work with me? You can make more money. Let me teach you what I do, and you can do your own thing. And they would see me, and they would try and work with me, and then they'd say, hey, you don't work that much. You don't work that hard. Why am I working so hard when you're living off the sweat of my labors? And they would reject and basically ruin the friendship or ruin the business project within the first couple of weeks. Because they didn't see the struggle, they think I lucked into success. They think I lucked into writing books. I've written almost 100 books. That's not luck. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of grind. I lived in my mother's basement for a year and then on a friend's couch for another year and a half. That's 2.5 years of struggle that most people aren't willing to do. We make these little decisions throughout the day that are driven by our beliefs. If your belief starts with time is money, well, then that will affect the decisions you make throughout the day. And you'll start to make decisions that push away opportunity. I see people, not just people dealing with me, okay? Sometimes an opportunity will come into someone's life and someone will say, hey, I've got a really big project. Would you be interested in working on it? And the person with the 9-to-5 mindset will be like, you know what? I don't really want to work on that. It doesn't feel like a good fit, or I feel like it's a trap. I feel like it's a trick, or it's not the right kind of thing. Someone else will then come along, take the opportunity. And a year later, you talk to that person about the missed opportunity. They go, no. It would have never worked for me. If I tried to work on that, it wouldn't have worked. I wouldn't, we have this way of backwards rationalizing to protect our egos. It's very hard to admit, hey, I made a bad decision. I rejected the opportunity to change my financial future. So throughout the day, we do all these little decisions. What do you listen to in the morning on the radio on the way to work? How do you act at work? What do you do in between projects at work when you have a little bit of free time here and a little bit of free time there? What are you thinking about? What type of books you read? What do you watch on television? All these little things add up and they lead into places. I can tell you right now that I constantly get approached with opportunities that come from the strangest places. People will come to me with an idea. And because I am always trying to learn, because I'm always trying to grow, because I have a certain type of mindset, they'll be drawn to me. We'll have a magnetic relationship. I can immediately recognize someone who's on the same path as me, someone who has the same mindset and the same desires. And that's why people who are really successful are drawn to each other, not because of matching wealth, but because of matching mindset. So when you change your mindset and you go to conferences, and when you meet people that are more successful than you, if you have the same mindset, they'll still want to talk to you because you're on the same path. The 9-to-5 mindset says, hey, someone else is responsible for my future. So people with that mindset, they'll go to a conference and they'll look for someone to save their business. I see this all the time. People are like, oh, I'm here because I'm hoping I can find that partner or that leader or someone who can save this project I'm running that's not working. They look for an external force to save them. And you don't need that. Yes, I'm here to guide you and I'm going to share with you the path to financial success and freedom, but you're still in charge of your destiny. You're in charge of building your business. You're in charge of taking action, implementation. Those are the keys to success. And that's where you'll find really amazing opportunity. Some people email me for advice and I give them huge amounts of advice and I'll talk to them on the phone and give them all this free information. And some people will email me and I can sense they have that 9-to-5 mindset. And I feel like a lot of my advice will fall on deaf ears. I can't tell you how often I tell someone exactly what to do to fix their implementation or to find a new client, and they just don't do it. It's very rarely lack of knowledge that keeps people from financial success. It's lack of implementation. Just like every single person on the planet knows exactly what you need to do to be skinny. Eat less, exercise more. There's no secret to the formula. There's nothing else to it. There's millions and millions of diets out there, but at the end of the day, it's a very simple formula. As someone who's overweight, I'm very aware of this. When I eat less, exercise more, I lose weight. But we don't do it. It's implementation where we struggle, and it's because of our mindset. So throughout the day, the things you listen to, the thoughts you have, will determine the way you behave. We develop habits, we develop patterns from our thought process. And the more you're caught up in this drone mentality, the more you're caught up in this time for money, follow the rules, I'm not allowed to be a leader, all these things that are programmed into us, the harder it will be for you to find success because your thoughts are limiting you. I'm always looking for opportunities to make more money. That's how I see every day. I see opportunity after opportunity. Most people, they go through the day, they don't see any opportunities. I've seen people where someone is basically offering them huge amounts of money and they don't even realize it. They don't see the opportunity because they're so blinded by their beliefs. So your lesson for today, very simply, is to work on breaking through your belief system. Think about the thought processes that are limiting you. Do you think that people who work online are lazy? Do you think blogs are stupid? Do you think the internet's for morons? Do you think the internet's mostly full of scams? Do you have negative thoughts about rich people? This is one that really destroys you. If you think money is evil or that rich people are greedy, the more you have that thought, the more you'll do little things throughout the day to stop yourself from becoming rich because you've taught your subconscious, hey, if you have money, you're bad, so I don't want money. Money's bad, and you'll repel money. You can't go around thinking that money's bad and then also want money. You'll have these two thoughts that are going opposite directions, and your subconscious and your conscious will be at war with each other. You won't be in alignment. When people think about the law of attraction, really, it's not the universe reacting to your thoughts. It's that your beliefs affect your behavior, so you can change your behaviors by having the correct set of beliefs. Thinking about what you deserve, thinking about what you desire, and thinking about creating a business that can do the right thing. Say, hey, I deserve to have recurring income. I deserve passive income. I deserve to leave this job behind. I believe that time is more valuable than money. I'm willing to invest extra time now that I normally use for entertainment in building a business that will give me long-term freedom. When you have those beliefs, they'll start to control your behaviors. I tell people all the time what I do. And this is how I find clients. All the time I'll say, hey, if you're ever looking for someone to write something for you, hey, if you ever need help for this type of project, making videos, this and that, I put those feelers out all the time because I like diversity of projects. I picked up a new client last week for a very simple project that I'm very happy about simply because I let them know what I'm capable of doing. I've been doing more and more copywriting recently because I want to really build that skill. I'm always trying to build new skills and grow and educate myself. And that's led to a lot of work this year just by telling people, hey, I copy right now. I do copy. And I tell people exactly the level I'm at. I say, here's how good I am. Here's what I'm capable of doing. And I deliver exactly what I promise. I'm a much better product creator than copywriter. But my copywriting is catching up because I'm putting a lot of time in, a lot of training, a lot of effort, doing a lot of learning. But the only way you're going to find clients, the only way you're going to find opportunity is by putting it out there. If you want to start an online business, but you kind of feel hesitant about it, you won't tell anyone. If you don't think you're really going to succeed, you'll keep it a secret. But if you're proud of what you're doing and you talk to people all the time, you'll discover opportunities all the time. If you just walk around and talk to everyone you know, say, hey, I've really been working on blog development. I've gotten really good. My blog looks so cool. I'm so excited about blog design, or I'm so excited about this. Like whatever part of what you're working on gets you excited, people will be like, hey, oh, can you help me with my blog? Or, hey, our business is having problems on our website. Would you help us? And these little opportunities will come your way. And as your beliefs get stronger, your skills will increase, your knowledge will increase, and the types of opportunities that come your way will get better. When I was first starting out 7 years ago, I would tell people all the time, oh, I'm really working on redesigning my website. I went through like 7 iterations of the graphics on my first website, and I would talk to people about it, and people would go, hey, if I paid you some money, would you help me with my website? And so it would lead to that level of work. It will lead to some income coming in, and that's nice. And it starts with believing in yourself. And when you have a strong belief system, then you're comfortable telling other people what you're working on, what you're doing. And that's how escaping the 9-to-5 mindset and instead grabbing onto the internet entrepreneur, serve no master mindset, that's going to give you freedom. When you believe that you're capable of anything, when you believe you deserve great things, then you'll feel comfortable telling people the kind of things you're working on, the kind of things you're capable of. And that's what generates opportunity, which other people see it as luck. People on the outside say, oh, that guy just offered to pay him to fix their website. What a lucky person. And it's like, it's not luck. It's that you projected and you said, hey, I'm working on a website. So you let people know what you're capable of doing. And that's when the opportunity gets generated. So what the masses perceive as luck is actually a result of your preparation. You're escaping the 9-to-5 mindset and you're embracing the serve no master mindset instead. Thank you for listening to the Serve No Master podcast. Make sure to subscribe so that together we can achieve true freedom.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Serve No Master. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back tomorrow with more tips and tactics on how to escape that rat race. Head over to servenomaster.com/podcasts now for your chance to win a free copy of Jonathan's bestseller, Serve No Master. All you have to do is leave a 5-star review of this podcast. See you tomorrow.